Hello students, welcome to my channel Hans Commerce Tutorial for the lectures on commerce, accounts, finance and management. My suggestion to you, before watching the video, please go to the description below my video. You'll find a link there. Take a printout of the problems given in the link and keep it ready before watching the video so that you can be able to understand the problem, the solution and the explanation to get the maximum benefit from the lectures. Thank you. Hello students, welcome you all back to unit number 2, Advanced Accounting. In the previous videos, we have done so many problems on unit number 1. In unit number 1, Advanced Accounting Partnership Accounts 1, we have discussed, briefly we'll recap, then we'll come to unit number 2. In unit number 1, Partnership 1, we have discussed the meaning of the term partnership, what are the features of partnership. We have discussed how to make the profit and loss appropriation account, division of profit. We have discussed about the fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method, how to make the accounts, fixed capital, fluctuating capital. We have done so many problems. The next topic we have discussed was admission of a partner. What are the adjustments to be made when a new partner is admitted to the partnership firm? So we have done the problems. Next topic we have discussed was retirement of a partner. When one of the partner retires, what are the adjustments to be made in the partnership firm? Last topic what we have discussed was death of a partner. On the death of a partner, what are the adjustments to be made? How to calculate the capital of the deceased partner transferred to their executor's account. All these things we have discussed in the theory as well as we have done so many problems covering in depth. Now we are in the second unit, unit number 2, Partnership Accounts 2. First 1 or 2 videos I am going to make on the theory. So listen carefully. If you coolly listen with full concentration this theory, then definitely you can enjoy while doing the problems. The problems will not look tough because if you give more concentration on this theory, the problems will be much easier. So it is the base. It is the base to understand this theory. First of all, Partnership Accounts 2, we have the topic called Dissolution of Firm and Sale to a Company. These two topics we are going to cover up in this unit. First of all, we discuss about the meaning of dissolution of partnership firm. So there is distinction between dissolution of partnership and dissolution of firm. Dissolution of partnership will arise whenever a new partner is admitted or an old partner retires or death of a partner. This dissolution of partnership, temporarily, for the time being, the relationship will be changed. The partnership will continue after admission, after retirement or after death. But partnership dissolution of firm implies that the relationship between all the partners will collapse, will cease. That means the partnership relationship will come to an end. The business comes to an end. So on the dissolution of the firm, all the assets will be realized, the liabilities will be paid off, and the accounts of partners will be settled. This is the meaning of the term dissolution. So simply, dissolution of the firm means the relationship of partnership firm will come to an end. The business is closed and all the assets are realized, liabilities are paid, and the accounts of partners are settled. Now, cases when the partnership is dissolved. Normally, many cases are there. Few of the cases where partnership firm will be dissolved is first. Actually, partnership has emerged with agreement. So through agreement, partnership can be dissolved. All the partners will agree that let's stop our partnership business. Let's close our partnership business. So through an agreement, the partners will decide to dissolve the firm. This is the first case. Second case, all the partners except one has become insolvent. 3 partners are there, A, B, C. Out of 3, 2 partners have become insolvent. Only 1 partner is remaining. Automatically the firm will be dissolved because 1 partner cannot run the partnership business. Thirdly, the partnership firm has the business of partnership has become illegal. Earlier पहले वो लीगल था. Now due to circumstances the business has become illegal. So automatically the partnership firm has to be dissolved. Next is, if the partnership is at will, any one of the partner can give notice to the other partners that we should dissolve the partnership. Lastly, the court may order in the circumstances. In certain circumstances, the court may order for the dissolution of the firm. So these are some of the cases where the firm will be dissolved. Now we'll discuss about accounting treatment when the firm is dissolved. What is the accounting treatment? How the journal entries, how the accounts are closed on dissolution of a firm. So first of all, whenever a firm is dissolved, a special account is opened temporarily called realization account. Realization account. So on dissolution of the firm, all the assets are realized, then liabilities and claims against the firms are paid off, and the accounts of partners will be settled. So how to make all these three things? We have to pass the journal entries. First journal entry will be regarding transfer of assets. See here, a partnership business will have assets on the asset side, all the assets individually. These assets should be closed by transferring it to the new account called realization account. The entry for this first transfer of assets is realization account debtor to assets account. Listen carefully because these entries we are going to apply in the coming problems. So if you are thorough on the entries, then only we can be able to solve the problem. Not only you have to remember the entries, but also you have to remember the sequence of entries. You should not mix up all the entries. You have to remember the sequence. What is the first entry? What is the second entry? What is the third entry? Like that. First entry, transfer of assets. All the assets should be transferred to realization. The entry will be realization account debtor to assets account. Realization account debtor to assets account. In every problem we are going to apply this first entry. While passing this entry, you have to remember some points. The first point you have to remember is all assets should be transferred to realization. All assets should be transferred to realization individually, not in total. For example, balance sheet mein asset side, land and building, plant and machinery, furniture, fixture, debtor, stock, bills receivable, all these things are there. So individually you have to write down. Realization account debtor to building account, to plant and machinery account, to furniture account, to stock account, to debtors account, individually. Second point, while passing this entry, take the book values, balance sheet values. Don't take the realizable values. In the problem, balance sheet values will be given, realizable values are given. We are concerned with the book values, balance sheet values. Second point. Third point is, cash and bank balance should not be transferred to realization. Cash and bank balance should not be transferred to realization. Next point is the assets. The assets should be taken at the gross figure. Example, on some assets there will be some provision, like provision for doubtful debts is given on the debtors. अगर partnership firm की balance sheet में debtors 1 lakh, less provision for doubtful debts 5,000. So 1 lakh minus 5,000, 95,000 is given in the problem. So while passing this entry, take the gross figure of debtors 1 lakh. Don't take 95,000. This point you have to remember. Last point you have to remember is, on asset side, if there are any accumulated losses, P&L account debits balance, sometimes balance sheet asset side will be given profit and loss account debit balance, that is called accumulated loss. That should not be transferred to realization. So these points you have to remember. Again I repeat, transfer of assets, realization account debtor to all assets account individually. Take the book values, don't take cash and bank balance. If any provision is there on any asset, take that asset at gross figure. Don't transfer the accumulated losses. This point. Second entry, transfer of liabilities and provisions against assets. Asset side ho gaya. Now we'll come to the liability side. Transfer all liabilities and provision. Liabilities like creditors, bills payable, loans, etc. तो individually we have to debit. Creditors account debtor, bills payable account debtor, provision for doubtful debts account debtor to realization. फर्स्ट एंट्री में रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू एसेट्स लिखे थे. ये एंट्री पास करने से एसेट्स अकाउंट्स वर क्लोज्ड बाय ट्रांसफरिंग इट टू रियलाइजेशन. सेकेंड एंट्री वी आर ट्रांसफरिंग द लायबिलिटीज एंड क्लोजिंग. ऑल लायबिलिटीज विल शो क्रेडिट बैलेंस. इन ऑर्डर टू क्लोज इट वी हैव टू डेबिट. हर लायबिलिटी क्रेडिट बैलेंस बताता, अब उसको क्लोज करने के लिए डेबिट करना है तो सन्ड्री क्रेडिटर्स को डेबिट करेंगे, बिल्स पेबल को डेबिट करेंगे. प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स विल शो क्रेडिट बैलेंस. एक्चुअली डेटार्स में से प्रोविजन लेस करते हैं एसेट साइड, लेकिन एसेट्स को ट्रांसफर करते हैं ग्रॉस एसेट ट्रांसफर करें, प्रोविजन को ट्रांसफर नहीं करें, अब ट्रांसफर करेंगे. तो लायबिलिटीज अकाउंट डेटार, प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स अकाउंट डेटार टू रियलाइजेशन. सेकेंड एंट्री. While passing the second entry, again you have to remember some points. All liabilities individually should be debited. पूरे लाइबिलिटीज को मिलाना नहीं, अलग अलग डेबिट करना. क्रेडिटर्स को अलग, बिल्स पेबल को अलग, लोन को अलग, प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स को अलग, इंडिविजुअली. सेकेंडली, द लाइबिलिटीज शुड बी ट्रांसफर्ड एट द बुक वैल्यूज, नॉट पेएबल वैल्यू. जो बुक वैल्यू है, बैलेंस शीट में जो वैल्यू है वही वैल्यू को ट्रांसफर करेंगे. दिस वन. थर्ड पॉइंट इज, while transferring the liabilities, don't transfer the accumulated profits and reserves. Balance sheet में liability side, suppose reserve fund, general reserve or P&L account credit balance is given. Don't transfer these accumulated profits and reserves to realization. Then last point, don't transfer the partner's current account, partner's loan account and partner's capital account. पार्टनर का कोई लोन है या पार्टनर का कैपिटल करंट अकाउंट है, these accounts should not be transferred to realization. These points you have to remember while passing second entry. Two entries we have passed. The first entry, transfer of assets to realization, realization account debtor to assets account. Second entry, transfer of liabilities and provision to realization, liabilities account debtor, provision account debtor to realization. Two entries. I'm again and again explaining because the problems depend on remembering these entries. If you don't remember these entries, you cannot solve the problem. Sequence you have to remember. Thirdly, for realizing assets. Now assets are sold. Realizing का मतलब है सेल कर देना, asset को बेच देना. जब asset को बेचेंगे तो cash is obtained, तो we debit bank. Bank account debtor to realization account. Don't write asset account. Don't write bank account debtor to asset account क्योंकि asset नहीं है. In the first entry itself we have transferred all assets to realization. So all the assets have gone to realization. अब assets को बेचेंगे तो entry bank account debtor to realization account. तो first entry transfer of all assets to realization. Second entry transfer liabilities to realization. Third entry for realizing the assets, bank account debtor to realization. For assets taken over by a partner, sometimes what will happen, some of the assets are not sold, but that asset will be taken over by one of the partner. Example, पूरे asset में कुछ फर्नीचर बचा हुआ है, वो फर्नीचर को बेच नहीं रहे हैं, बल्कि one of the partner agreed to take over at an agreed value. वो फर्नीचर को एक पार्टनर कह रहा है कि मैं ले लेता हूँ, मार्केट में मत बेचो. तो in that case, partners capital account debtor to realization. बेचे तो बैंक अकाउंट डेटर टू रियलाइजेशन, नहीं बेचे बल्कि वन ऑफ द पार्टनर हैज टेकन, देन पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटर टू रियलाइजेशन. फोर्थ एंट्री. फर्स्ट एंट्री, ट्रांसफर ऑफ एसेट्स, रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटर टू एसेट्स. सेकेंड एंट्री, ट्रांसफर ऑफ लायबिलिटीज, liabilities account debtor, provision account debtor to realization. Third, for realizing assets, bank account debtor to realization. When some of the assets are taken over by a partner, partner's capital account debtor to realization. 4 entries over. Fifth entry, for payment or discharge of liabilities. कुछ liabilities को pay करना है. अब जैसे sundry creditors है. Normally when we pay to sundry creditors, creditors account debtor to bank. But here we are not doing that. Because already creditors we have transferred to realization. So when you make the payment for liability, entry will be realization account debtor to bank. Realization account debtor to bank. Money is going out. We are paying. So payment or discharge of liability. For the liability agreed to be discharged by a partner. कभी क्या होता, कुछ liability को payment नहीं करते, बल्कि that liability will be taken over by a partner. The partner has agreed to pay it in his individual capacity, personal capacity. Pay करे तो entry realization to bank. अब नहीं पे कर रहा है, पार्टनर पे कर रहा है, तो रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट. बैंक की जगह पे पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट, बैंक के प्लेस के ऊपर पार्टनर्स कैपिटल. पे करे तो रियलाइजेशन टू बैंक, नहीं पे करे पार्टनर पे कर ले रहा है तो रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट. तो 6th एंट्री. नेक्स्ट फॉर एक्सपेंसेस ऑफ रियलाइजेशन. This job of realizing the assets and paying the liabilities, where person has to incur some expenditure. ये easily नहीं होता है. ये पूरे assets को बेचना, पैसा realize करना, फिर liabilities को pay करना, ये सब activities के लिए some expenditure will be incurred. Those expenses are called realization expenses. तो entry for realization expenses is realization account data to bank. Realization account data to bank. Then for transfer of profit on realization. Now we have completed. All the assets are realized, liabilities are paid off, सब close हो गया. अब realization के account में देखेंगे profit है या loss है. If the realization account credit side is more than debit side, there is a profit. Credit side ज़्यादा है, debit side कम है, तो इसका मतलब there is a profit. This profit will be distributed to all the partners in the profit sharing ratio. Entry will be realization account data to all partners, A's capital, B's capital, C's capital, individually, being the profit on realization shared by all the partners in the profit sharing ratio. Or, so for transfer of profit on realization, for payment of partners loan. अगर balance sheet में एक partners का loan है, liability side, A's loan account. लोन अकाउंट वी हैव नॉट ट्रांसफर्ड टू लायबिलिटीज. सेकेंड एंट्री पास करते वक्त याद रखिए कि लोन को ट्रांसफर नहीं करे रियलाइजेशन को, अब पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, तो पार्टनर्स लोन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक. पार्टनर्स लोन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक. नेक्स्ट फॉर ट्रांसफरिंग एक्यूमुलेटेड प्रॉफिट्स टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट. बैलेंस शीट में लायबिलिटी साइड, इफ देयर इज एनी जनरल रिजर्व और रिजर्व फंड और P&L अकाउंट क्रेडिट बैलेंस, तो लायबिलिटी साइड ये आइटम्स पार्टनर्स रिजर्व फंड, जनरल रिजर्व, P&L अकाउंट, क्रेडिट साइड, क्रेडिट बैलेंस, इसको कहते हैं एक्यूमुलेटेड प्रॉफिट्स एंड रिजर्व्स. दिस शुड बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट. तो एंट्री विल बी जनरल रिजर्व अकाउंट डेटा, रिजर्व फंड अकाउंट डेटा, P&L अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट इन द प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो. In the profit sharing ratio. In this way, what will happen? General reserve account, reserve fund account, P&L account will get closed. पहले क्रेडिट बैलेंस बता रहे थे, अब डेबिट कर दिए. जनरल रिजर्व को डेबिट कर दिए, जनरल रिजर्व क्लोज हो गया. रिजर्व फंड को डेबिट करे, क्लोज हो गया. P&L अकाउंट को डेबिट कर दिए, क्लोज हो गया. और उसका अमाउंट कहां पर चलेगा? पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट. पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट इन द ओल्ड प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो. इन द प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो. That's all. Now for closing capital accounts, सारा काम हो गया. We have sold all the assets. We have realized the cash. We have made the payment to all the parties. Lastly, we have to settle the accounts of the partners. अब जो बचा हुआ पैसा है वो partners के account में transfer कर देना. तो entry will be partners capital account data to bank. A's capital account data to bank, B's capital account data to bank, C's capital account data to bank. ये एंट्री पास करने से all the accounts will get closed. There won't be any bank balance left. बैंक बैलेंस भी नहीं रहता, वो भी ट्रांसफर हो जाता. The bank balance will also be transferred to partners capital account. So in this way all the accounts are closed. So these are the journal entries. These are the journal entries we have to pass in the coming problems. So what are the journal entries on dissolution? Again, once last I will explain again, because you have to remember these entries in sequence. First entry for transferring assets to realization. Entry will be realization account data to assets individually. Second, for transfer of liabilities and provision. लायबिलिटीज अकाउंट डेटा, प्रोविजन अकाउंट डेटा टू रियलाइजेशन। तो पहली एंट्री में रियलाइजेशन को डेबिट करें और सेकेंड एंट्री में रियलाइजेशन को क्रेडिट करें, लायबिलिटीज को डेबिट करें। थर्ड, फॉर रियलाइजिंग एसेट्स, एसेट्स बेचे, पैसा आया, बैंक अकाउंट डेटा टू रियलाइजेशन। थर्ड, फॉर एसेट्स टेकन ओवर बाय अ पार्टनर, एक पार्टनर ले लिया एसेट को, तो पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू रियलाइजेशन। नेक्स्ट, फॉर पेमेंट और डिस्चार्ज ऑफ लायबिलिटीज, लायबिलिटीज को पे कर देना है, तो रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक, रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक। सपोज फॉर द लायबिलिटीज एग्री टू बी डिस्चार्ज बाय अ पार्टनर, एक पार्टनर एग्री कर लिया कि हम पे कर देंगे लायबिलिटी को, तो रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट। देन फॉर एक्सपेंसेस ऑफ रियलाइजेशन, रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक। नेक्स्ट वन, फॉर ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉफिट ऑन रियलाइजेशन, realization account data to partners capital account individually in the profit sharing ratio। अगर लॉस होगा तो उल्टा कर देंगे, अगर डेबिट साइड ज्यादा रहेगा रियलाइजेशन में, क्रेडिट साइड कम रहेगा, तो एंट्री विल बी पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू रियलाइजेशन। देन फॉर पेमेंट ऑफ पार्टनर्स लोन, तो पार्टनर्स लोन अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक। नेक्स्ट, फॉर ट्रांसफरिंग एक्यूमुलेटेड प्रॉफिट्स, अगर पार्टनर लायबिलिटी साइड, बैलेंस शीट के लायबिलिटी साइड एक्यूमुलेटेड प्रॉफिट्स है, जनरल रिजर्व, रिजर्व फंड, पीएनएल अकाउंट, क्रेडिट बैलेंस, दिस शुड बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट। जनरल रिजर्व अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट, और रिजर्व फंड अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट, और पीएनएल अकाउंट डेटा टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट इन द प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो। अगर एक्यूमुलेटेड लॉस अगर है तो इसका एंट्री उल्टा हो जाएगा। एक्यूमुलेटेड लॉस का मतलब एसेट साइड के ऊपर पीएनएल अकाउंट डेबिट बैलेंस, एसेट साइड के ऊपर पीएनएल अकाउंट डेबिट बैलेंस बता रहा, तो एक्यूमुलेटेड लॉस है, एंड इट शुड बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट। एस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा, बीस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा, सीस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू पीएनएल अकाउंट, ये लॉस की एंट्री। नेक्स्ट कम्स फॉर क्लोजिंग कैपिटल अकाउंट्स। अब पूरा हो गया, कैपिटल अकाउंट्स को क्लोज करना है, एस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक, बीस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक, सीस कैपिटल अकाउंट डेटा टू बैंक, अकाउंट्स आर क्लोज्ड। सो these are the cases for dissolution of firm. Now, insolvency of a partner. When a partner is unable to pay any amount due to the firm, the partner is called insolvent partner. Normally, insolvent का मतलब क्या होता है? When a person's liabilities are more than assets. अगर एक आदमी के liabilities बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए और assets नहीं हैं, he is unable to pay the liabilities, he is called insolvent. So in partnership firm, if a partner is unable to pay the debt due to the firm, the partner is called insolvent partner. Now, for settling the accounts during insolvency, one famous English case was there called Garner versus Murray case. So, this Garner versus Murray case will be applied to settle the accounts on insolvency of a partner. What this Garner versus Murray says, the loss on account of insolvency of a partner is a capital loss, not an ordinary loss. The ordinary loss is incurred like trading loss or loss on realization. These are the ordinary losses. Whereas the loss incurred on account of insolvency of a partner is a capital loss. So this loss should be borne by solvent partners in capital ratio. Example, A, B, C तीन partners है. C has become insolvent. A and B are solvent. So whatever amount is due from C, loss incurred on account of C. C के पास से 1 लाख रुपीस आने का है, लेकिन C is not in a position to pay 1 lakh rupees. Loss. अब ये loss 1 lakh rupees should be borne by solvent partners A and B in the capital ratio. In the capital ratio. So that is the rule given by Garner versus Murray. In simple words, the loss on account of insolvency of a partner is a capital loss. It should be borne by solvent partners in the capital ratio, not in the profit sharing ratio. It is not an ordinary loss, it's a capital loss. Secondly, if a solvent partner shows debit balance in his capital account, he will not bear the loss of insolvency. अगर कोई सॉल्वेंट पार्टनर के पास कैपिटल अकाउंट में डेबिट बैलेंस है, then that partner will not bear the loss of insolvency. And thirdly, according to Garner versus Murray rule, realization loss the loss on account of realization, that loss should be brought in cash by the solvent partners. By the solvent partners. Example, जब realization account बनाएंगे तो realization loss हो गया, तो वो realization जितना भी loss रहेगा उतना cash लेकर आना. कौन लेकर आना? Solvent partners. The solvent partners has to bring the cash for the amount of realization loss in case of insolvency. In reality, no cash is brought, just a notional entry will be passed as if they have brought the cash. So this is about insolvency of a partner. Now, fixed and fluctuating capital. There are two types of capital accounts for partners: fixed capital account and fluctuating capital account. Now, how to find out the capital ratio for insolvency purpose when we have fixed capital and fluctuating capital? There is some different treatment. The treatment is, if the partners' capitals accounts are fixed, if partners' capitals accounts are fixed, then the fixed capital ratio will be used to distribute the loss of insolvency. Loss of insolvency का जो भी loss रहेगा उसको जो fixed capital ratio में distribute करेंगे. All the other adjustment regarding drawings or realization profit, all these things will be taken in current account. Adjustments will be taken in partner's current account, whereas fixed capital, the capital will remain fixed. So in that case, we take the fixed capital ratio to distribute the loss of insolvency. But in case if the partner's capitals are fluctuating, then what will happen? We'll take the opening capital, to that we adjust the reserve fund, general reserve and accumulated profits. Reserve fund, general reserve, accumulated profit, all these things will be adjusted in capital account. And after making that adjustment, we'll find out what is the capital ratio. In that capital ratio, the loss of insolvency will be adjusted. But remember, realization loss should not be considered. In finding out this capital ratio, realization loss should not be considered for making this capital ratio. Only capital account will be adjusted for general reserve, reserve fund, etc. In this way, we calculate capital ratio. In that capital ratio, insolvency loss will be shared. This is all about fixed and fluctuating capital. After listening this theory once or twice, you will get some points. While doing the problem, these points you have to remember. Whatever we are discussing, we have separate problems for insolvency. So in insolvency problem, we have to see whether the partners are maintaining fixed capital or fluctuating capital. Fixed capital अगर maintain कर रहे हैं, तो it's very easy. Take the ratio of fixed capital. That capital ratio will be used for distributing the insolvency loss. अगर fluctuating capital maintain कर रहे हैं, तो जो भी कैपिटल अकाउंट है उसमें जनरल रिजर्व, रिजर्व फंड, एक्यूमुलेटेड प्रॉफिट एडजस्ट कर लेंगे. करने के बाद जो रेशो आएगा वो रेशो को यूज करेंगे. रियलाइजेशन लॉस को यूज नहीं करेंगे, रियलाइजेशन लॉस को एडजस्ट नहीं करेंगे फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग कैपिटल रेशो. राइट, दिस इज अबाउट फिक्स्ड एंड फ्लक्चुएटिंग कैपिटल. सो व्हाट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड टिल नाउ, this unit number 2 is concerned with dissolution of firm and sale to a company. अभी सेल टू ए कंपनी नहीं पढ़े, अभी तो स्टिल वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट डिसोल्यूशन ऑफ फर्म. तो डिसोल्यूशन का मीनिंग क्या है? जस्ट नाउ इन द बिगिनिंग आई टोल्ड यू द रिलेशनशिप ऑफ पार्टनरशिप कम्स टू एन एंड. द रिलेशन बिटवीन पार्टनर्स कम्स टू एन एंड. द बिजनेस इज क्लोज्ड, द एसेट्स आर रियलाइज्ड, liabilities are paid and accounts are settled. That is called dissolution of firm. Under different cases, 5 cases I have specified. The first case is the partners will agree, because partnership is made with an agreement. So dissolution can also be with an agreement. पूरे partners मिलकर बैठ के बोलेंगे चलो खत्म कर देंगे business, finish कर देंगे, dissolve कर देंगे. They can dissolve it. Nobody can stop them. उसी तरह if except one, all the other partners have become insolvent. अगर A, B, C, D 4 पार्टनर्स है, 3 पार्टनर्स इंसॉल्वेंट हो गए, एक ही पार्टनर बचा हुआ है, बिजनेस फर्म को डिसॉल्व करना मस्ट हो गया. थर्डली, द बिजनेस हैज बिकम इलीगल. पहले लीगल था लेकिन अब लॉ चेंज हो गया, सर्कमस्टेंसेस चेंज हो गए, तो अब ये बिजनेस इलीगल हो गया है, तो कंपल्सरी द फर्म हैज टू बी डिसॉल्व्ड. Similarly, the court may order dissolution of firm in some cases on just an equitable basis. The court will give an order to dissolve the firm. So these are some of the cases of dissolution. Accounting treatment. What are the adjustments to be made in accounts? Entries. What are the entries to be passed? Transfer the assets to realization. Transfer the liabilities to realization. For realizing the assets. For assets taken over by one of the partner. Liability, payment of liabilities. Then liability taken over by one of the partner. One of the partner has agreed to pay off the liability for realization expenses. For transfer of